Hey there. If you're watching this video, chances are good that you have expressed some interest in being a Knack tutor for MIS 2402 at Temple University. And let me just start by saying thank you. Um, the students who are taking that class now are in I have no doubt that some percentage of them are in need of your assistance. And I want to equip you with this short little video with some tips and tricks to help you assist them. But more important than tips and tricks, I need to get you up to speed on how 2402 has changed. So last semester, fall of 2025, we made some big changes in the way we deliver that course. And that's really the main reason for this video here. I want to walk you through what's changed and give you some idea about how you can best help students who are in the course this semester. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's get started. I have in front of me here, I have a Bitvise client on the left, and I have the in-class activity number 6 on the right. I'm actually going to walk through that in-class activity. Um, I will solve it in front of your very eyes, and that's not a big thing. If that answer gets leaked out onto the internet, that's not a huge deal. But what I do want to do is I want to talk about, how I'm expecting students in 2402 will be going about doing their work, both the in-class activities and the assignments and the quizzes. So first thing, let me talk about the quizzes. So all of the paper quizzes, like the multiple choice questions and fill in the blanks, they are gone. Those quizzes are gone, and they've been replaced with hands-on quizzes. So every quiz in 2402 is a hands-on quiz. And there's only one exam. So the idea is that over the course of the semester, 2402 students will take 10 hands-on quizzes, getting progressively more difficult. And the idea is that experience, that hands-on experience, prepares them for the hands-on exam at the end of the semester. So that's an important change. Some of you may not have experienced that. As far as what I have on the screen here, this is the environment that we want students to be using. Of course, if you're on a Mac, you don't have Bitvise, so there's some separate directions there for a Mac user. And I can kind of point you in that general direction here. But what I'm doing here is typical of what we would expect a student to do who is completing the in-class activity or who is doing the assignments. One other thing, we are pushing hard to have the students do the in-class activities in the classroom on the PCs that are in the lab, not their own personal devices. Similarly, the quizzes are done in the classroom, in the lab, on the PCs that are not, not owned by the students. And the reason for that is we need a certain element of control over the quiz and exam situations in order to ensure some academic integrity. Prior semesters, we had enough trouble with students using various AI tools to do the in-class activities and assignments that it became a problem. So where's Visual Studio Code? I don't see Visual Studio Code in front of me anywhere here. Well, there's a reason for that. As you know, you probably took 3502 from me, the second programming course, very recently. And as you know, there's all sorts of AI and Code Complete and GitHub Copilot all baked into Visual Studio Code. And that trend is not going away. That's great if you know a little bit about how to code. But if you don't know anything about how to code, all of those AI helps actually interfere with your ability to learn what you need to learn. So the big announcement here is for 2402, for the foreseeable future, we're trying to create a AI free environment as much as we can, so that students going through that course have an opportunity to learn. We're also pushing to have students learn how to type some things at the keyboard at a command line, and that is a direct consequence of conversations that I've had with alumni who said that is something that they are observing that students no longer know how to do, and they need it done in their workplaces. It's also conversations I've had with the cybersecurity course, where working from a terminal is very important. So this is an exposure to writing commands on a terminal from a command prompt and using them to get stuff done. So Visual Studio Code is gone. You shouldn't be advising any student who might come to you for help. You shouldn't be telling them about Visual Studio Code. What I'm about to show you is the way stuff gets done, right? You shouldn't be promoting any AI tools. Please, please, please. The assignments and activities are straightforward. And if you as a tutor need to go get some AI help for yourself, please do that kind of on the sly. Please don't direct students towards AI. You're actually perpetuating a problem if you do that. I hope that makes sense. Also, if you get stuck, I want to help you, right? So you can reach out to me if you say I don't know, I don't understand how to help the student with this assignment or this activity. I want to help you do those things. So let's get started. So this is my in-class activity. I think we actually revised this one recently, so it's still kind of under review, but I'm pretty sure this is how the activity is going to run. And if there are any changes, they're going to be super minor. Okay. So in-class activities will usually say something like this. So this one's all about writing your very first if statements, JavaScript if statements. That's it. Okay, instructions: log into the class server with Bitbuys. The server is misdemo.temple.edu, and you should use the username and password given to you by your instructor. So there you go. I'm in Bitbuys. This is the class server. This is the username for my pretend student. I'm going to click log in, and this is where I would type in my password, which I have stored in memory. I'm going to click OK. Now, some of you will remember that you used to use this SFTP tool to upload your work from Visual Studio Code. That's not a deal anymore. Don't try to use this, because if you try to use this, you're going to get an error. Let's see if we can make it happen here. Yeah, this is just not going to open up. There you go. SFTP channel opened, channel closed by server. We're not letting students do work outside of the server and then upload it. That is a idea from prior versions of the course, not part of the course anymore. What we do want students to do is open up the terminal here, and I've got my terminal cranked up to be maximum font here so that you can read this. Notice what it says when you log in. So this is what every student in 2402 is going to be doing. They do this in class. They do this for their HTML assignments. We don't use CodePen anymore for HTML. We teach them a few commands from the command console here. Like if I type ls, I get a listing of command prompts. But look here. The commands you need to type are in the activity. So if this weirds you out, don't let it weird you out. These are really, really simple commands, and we step the students through them bit by bit. Hopefully by the end of the semester, like like we do these same 3-4 steps over and over and over and over again. Hopefully by the end of the semester, students will be able to do this without thinking too hard about it. But hey, you never know. Okay, so I'm logged in. Please, there's an advisory here. You can't just, by the way, you can't, if you do know a little bit of Linux, be aware that you can't just run whatever commands you want. This is a limited shell. That's to, again, keep students from getting themselves into trouble by doing things that they shouldn't do. And we keep logs of all the work done on the class server. So please don't, please don't advise students on ways to get around the material. Not that any of you would do that, but I'm just spelling it out. We've taken a lot of precautions here. Okay. What does it say to do? I should cd into www root. It looks like that's a folder of some sort. So cd www root. And now I'm in my web root, right, for that user. And I'm going to get my file that has all my starter material in it, and then I'm going to unzip it. So that's my command there. Class examples ICA06 tests.zip. So I'm going to type that wget https misdemo temple.edu class examples. And you'll notice that it wrapped around. That's because my monitor is set up so goofy right now because I had to crank up the font for everything. So the code actually wrapped around over to here. Sorry about that. Slash ICA06 tests dot zip. Enter. Okay, so it pulled that down in to my folder. If you don't know Linux at all, if you want to get the contents of the current directory, you type ls to list the contents of the directory. So my folder has ICA06 tests in it. It also has ICA06 tests.html in it. That's because I was practicing this video earlier and it was still hanging around there. But so you would just see the one file here, and I'm going to unzip this. Unzip ICA06 tests.zip. And if you were a less sophisticated audience, I would probably stop and re-record the video at this point, but you all understand that this was already there from like last night, right? Okay, so I unzip the file, enter, and it says, hey, look, ICA06 test.html is already there. Do you want to replace it? Yes, I do. Okay, great. Now I've got my file. What do I do next? Now open the file in Nano. So like I said, Visual Studio Code is gone. I'm going to maximize my window here. Visual Studio Code is gone. How do I edit a file? Well, we use this editor called Nano. So it's Nano ICA06 tests.html, enter, and now I'm in an editor. Again, you've got the color coding, you have line numbers on the left, and how do I move around in here? Do I use the mouse? No, don't use the mouse. Don't use the mouse. So I got my finger here. I'm gonna click the up arrow and the down arrow, and I arrow to the right and I arrow to the left, and that's how I get around in here. There's some commands down here as well. Control, like if I want to quit, it's a control X. So I'm going to hold down the control key with one finger. I'm going to press X with the other finger, control X. There, I'm back out again. Oh, I'd like to do that again. Okay, Nano ICA06 tests.html. Great. And I can arrow around in through here. So I hold down the arrow key to go up and down. This is not really tricky, folks. It's using the arrow keys is the big idea. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this so I can see my instructions. Okay, so I open it. Now we're going to open this up in Chrome and visit this URL. And as you go to HTTPS MSDemo, your username and ICA6, and then you'll be prompted for a username and password. And here we have to explain that username is your username. Fine. All right, so I'm going to open up a browser. I'm going to go to HTTPS // mis demo.edu / what is it, TUH 54321, no, it's TUZ, I'm sorry, TUZ 54321 H, and then ICA 06.h tests.html. So that's the URL that was in the document. By the way, some of you are saying, boy, I wish I could follow along with this. If you want me to make a new MIS demo account for you, let me know. Okay, shoot me an email. Let me know if you need me to create one for you so you can help the students, or maybe you don't need one. Maybe it's just, I'll just have a Zoom session with the student and let them and tell them what to do next. If you want one, I'll make you one. Okay, I'm gonna press enter. It's gonna prompt you for a username and password. So let me type in and I wonder if I still have my password in memory. I think I do. I did. Okay, great. So there you go. This is called number tests. It says your browser will prompt you for the MS demo username and password. Already did that. You type that in. You be sure to open the web developer console tools in Chrome. Click the 3-dot menu and choose more tools, developer tools. Okay, 3 dots, more tools, developer tools. Hey, right there, you would be amazed. You would be amazed at how many students just don't do that. We can't make students open up those developer tools, but man, it sure does help, right? So here we go. Now go back to Nano and observe lines 34, 35, and 36. And this is our exposure to an if statement. And this explains that the pseudocode for these 3 lines of code would be something like this. If the value held in the variable mynum is not a number, then stop the function and return a message, right? So as a Knack tutor, I think what I'm looking at here should be self-explanatory. And then we say, hey, try this. Try typing in a number, try typing something that's not a number, watch what happens. Fine. So I'm going to type in 5 and click go. And I get test 1, test 2, test 3. But if I type in something that's not a number like XYZ and click go, I get test 1. And here, supposedly, the student would observe that, hey, something stops the code from executing. Like when I put in a number, I get 1, 2, 3. But when I don't put in a number, I only get test 1. Why is that? Okay, and then I explain why is that on the next line. All right, and now it's so this is, notice when the return statement runs on line 35, number test function stops because it returns something. Okay, fine. 11, time to write some if statements. Starting at line 44, write a if statement that implements this pseudocode. If mynum is less than 0, then stop the function returning the number is negative, less than 0. Next, write an if statement that implements this pseudocode. If mynum is greater than 0, then stop the function, returning the number is positive. Finally, if no prior condition was triggered, return the number 0. Notice that you don't really need else to do that. Test your work. You know what? I've just realized that I probably should tell students to save their work with Control O. I guess I didn't really say that anywhere in here, did I? Okay, so let me do that. I'll put it right in here. I should have said that. Again, at this point in the semester, students should know that, but apparently I have to say that. Okay, so let's do those things. This is line 44. And you can do something like this. So I usually type 2 spaces, but indentation is not the main problem. So if my num is less than 0, oh my goodness, what should we do? Well, probably something like this. Return the number is negative. Right? Okay, and again, I'm using the arrow key and the enter key, space bar, if my num is greater than 0, return the and if you get this far in the code, again using the arrows, so my number test. So if it was not a number, you'd bail. If it was a blank, you would bail. If the number was less than 0, you would stop. If the number was greater than 0, you would stop. So the only logical possibility at this point is return the number is 0. And you can get rid of these extra lines. Okay. Now, if you want to save the file, it's Control O to write out the file. I'm holding down the Control key with one finger and pressing O with the other. Control O. And do you want to write that? Yes, I do. Enter. Or if you were really all done, you could say Control X, which would get you out again. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look and make sure I did that right. So I'm going to refresh my page over here. And if I put in 7, I get the number is positive. If I put in -9, I get the number is negative. If I put in text, I get that's not a number. And if I put in 0, I get the number is 0. So there you go. And then what the student would do is they would take that URL and they would paste that into the box below, and they would turn that in on Canvas. And that would be the whole in-class activity. And again, because it's an in-class activity, you would expect that most of this would have been done in class, or most, if not all of it. But you just know that somebody at some point is going to miss class and they're going to need help, and then they call the Knack tutor to help them figure out what they should have done in class, but maybe they weren't there for some reason. Okay, so that's the sort of work that I would hope a Knack tutor would be able to help with. So key takeaways are Visual Studio Code is gone. We're using Bitwise. If you're a Mac user and you can't figure out how to shell into the class server, I'll give you some instructions on that. It's really easy. Do your work. The basic idea is students should do all their work on the class server. Files shouldn't be uploaded and downloaded or copied and pasted or anything like that. It's sign into the class server, type your work, test it, save it, be done. I hope that helps. Hopefully I haven't scared you away. And as you know, this is a very deliberate strategy, trying to equip students with these basic skills before they get into cloud, 3502, and 4596 courses where they're expected to do other things. And as you know, at least in 3502, I'm expecting students to use AI for help, but not here. Thanks for your attention. Talk to you later. Bye.